In every country, traditional folktales often carry the wisdom and moral lessons of the past. However, it's not widely known that many Japanese folktales end in shocking ways that make them completely unsuitable for children, or they leave you wondering what the moral was supposed to be in the first place, offering nothing but a lingering sense of confusion. This is a series that dares to collect and introduce such Japanese folktales, titled, What Even Is This Story? Japan. Together with all of you, we'd like to reflect on how we should interpret these tales and what lessons, if any, they offer. Once upon a time, there was a poor man. No matter how earnestly he worked every day, his life never improved. Desperate to escape poverty, he prayed fervently to Kannon, the goddess of mercy. In response, he received a divine message. Take whatever you touch first and set out on a journey with it. As soon as the man stepped out of the cannon hall, he tripped over a stone and fell. By chance, his hand touched a single straw stalk. Following the divine message, the man took the straw in hand and began walking down the road. Before long, a large horsefly began buzzing annoyingly around his face. Unable to bear the nuisance, he caught the horsefly and tied it to the end of the straw. Soon after, a nearby child who had been crying loudly caught sight of the straw with the buzzing horsefly and wanted it. At first, the man refused, trusting in Kannon's message. But the child's mother, struggling with her son's tantrum, offered to exchange it for a mandarin orange. The man agreed and gave the straw to the boy, receiving the orange in return. As he continued on his way, he met a merchant suffering from thirst. The merchant wanted the juicy orange and offered in exchange a fine bolt of cloth he was carrying. The man handed over the orange and received the cloth. Delighted that a single piece of straw had now turned into fine cloth, the man traveled on and encountered a samurai. The samurai's beloved horse had suddenly fallen ill, but being in a hurry, he had no choice but to abandon it. He instructed his servant to take care of the horse and hurried on. The man offered the servant the bolt of cloth in exchange for the horse. The servant accepted and chased after his master. The man drew water and gave it to the horse, who soon recovered and stood up. The man mounted the horse and continued his journey. Eventually, he arrived at a large mansion. The master of the house was just about to leave on a journey and asked the man to look after the mansion, offering to borrow the horse in exchange. The master added, "If I don't return within 3 years, the mansion shall be yours." The man agreed, and the master departed on horseback. 3 years passed, then 5, but the master never returned. Thus, the man became the owner of the mansion and finally attained a life of wealth and comfort. What do you think? Of all the Japanese folktales we've introduced so far, this one is probably the most complete story. So what's the moral of the story? Japan B is a channel that randomly shares information about lesser-known aspects of Japanese culture, spanning across various genres.